Hi, I'm Ross from Airsoft, and today we're going to be taking a look at the T238 Speedloader Lite Edition. So T238 is known for their tracers, grenades, and speedloaders, and we have their Lite Edition here in front of me. This is a brand new speedloader that they just finished doing pre-orders for, and they are going to be releasing to the general market very shortly. So I'm excited to take a look at it and let you guys know what you can expect out of the box for this speedloader. So the Lite Edition speedloader, it is an electric speedloader, so it is going to be battery operated. There's no hand crank or anything of that sort to it. It is a smaller size. It is meant to fit inside of double mag pouches or radio pouches. It is a very nice size for that. It's very nice and handheld. It feels very carryable compared to other automatic electric speed loaders, which are more meant for being table set and loaded at a sitting position or somewhere off the field. So this small size is certainly important, coming in at 76 millimeters long, 53 millimeters wide, and 185 millimeters high. It only weighs 376 grams, but you're carrying that BB weight either way. So the speedloader itself isn't adding too much to your kit overall. It is built out of PC and ABS plastic with a steel loading wheel inside. And then to go over just some of the externals here that we see, you have on the top your LED screen, which is going to give you all of your readings. You have a little control pad right beneath it. Coming a little further down, we have the lock that keeps the top of the speedloader shut. So you can switch it back and forth, open it right up, and then you have access to where your battery is. So they have a battery sleeve in here that allows you to slide your LiPo in. They recommend an 1100 milliamp battery. If you pre-ordered this speedloader, it did come with a battery installed. So we have the battery they provided. So you just want to make sure that it will fit inside that slot inside here. It is a bit tight, but obviously this brick cell battery fits in there nicely. So you shouldn't have a problem with that. But this is also where you're gonna load your BBs in. So you're gonna dump your BBs directly into this chamber here where your battery is plugged in. So everything is inside this one compartment. There is nothing else that you have to worry about on this speedloader here. It's a very simple design in that sense. And to briefly go over the internals, this does have a 304 stainless steel loading wheel and a high torque motor. So you are getting a lot of power pushing those BBs out of this guy, which is both a good thing and a bad thing. Come down to the base and we have the actual feed nozzle. So when this is pressed in, that is what is going to activate the mechanism that is going to load your BBs. This nozzle here is not meant for directly going onto your magazine. You have 4 adapter pieces that it comes with. So your magazine adapters are going to be as followed. Your A adapter is going to be for most AEG magazines. So all you have to do is line it up with the little holes in there, and then you're going to insert, push it, and it's going to go up 90 degrees. And then it's going to kind of loosely sit locked in there. And then that is going to be the point where you load your magazine from. So your A adapter is going to be for most AEG magazines. It is going to be the most universal fill nozzle that I have found. Your B type is going to be for Springer magazines or magazines that have a more large follower. Your C type is for gas shotgun shells, specifically the CAM and APS style ones, not for the typical Tokyo Marui style shotgun shells. Those you can use the type A adapter for. And then the type D adapter is going to be for your gas blowbacks. So pistol mags, gas blowback rifles, things of that sort. And those are going to be your 4 adapters, which you can use on a variety of magazines. And they're going to be releasing more adapters to the market soon as well, so that you can use it with even more mags. Switching out the adapters isn't very hard. However, I will say that making sure it's locked in is definitely important. When I was doing this testing, I was swapping them back and forth a lot, and I wasn't unplugging my battery, which just means that whenever I go to lock it in, it's going to start to activate and wind a couple BBs out, and sometimes that throws me off while trying to get to lock in, and I didn't get it to lock securely all the way every time. So that is just something to note. I had the biggest issues with my gas blowback magazines. Now, honestly, I think that's just because the spring tension on those is much, much stronger than a typical AEG. So I was having to put a lot more force, and then when it was full, instead of, releasing itself, I was still applying pressure, and it almost, kind of threw itself apart with that pressure, which you can see the footage for that as I was loading my magazine. Another note about gas blowback magazines, I noticed on one of my pistol magazines where the follower actually locks to the bottom and allows BBs to kind of free flow in, which would be a pretty standard way of loading one of those. I found that it actually loaded it less efficiently than if I had the BBs push the follower and spring down on their own. It just didn't really get it as full. I think that might just be because of the pressure behind this and how it loads, but I would recommend loading all your magazines with these springs all the way up and the followers up, and not locking them down for a Springer or gas style magazine. But that is something that as you get used to using the speed loader, and with any speed loader, you get used to loading your mags. You know where you can stop and start with the load. I'll also say that that brings me into our next feature. So when you plug the battery in and you turn on your LED screen, you're gonna have a few different options that you can do. The main one is gonna be the infinity option. That is what it's set to from the factory. And that is just gonna be a constant load. So as soon as you push down on the nozzle, it is going to fill it until you stop pushing. That is what I used for loading all of these mags as I was going through a variety of magazines. And that is what caused a lot of my problems. So something I did do, and something I'll note for anybody who is going to be using the speed loader in the future, I have a Marusian Uzi mag that does not have a base plate on it. It is an older mag, probably manufactured in around 99. So when I went to load it and I had the infinity setting on, I assumed that it got fully loaded and that spring tension was just so much that it exploded out of the bottom of my magazine. That's really on me. If I had set the T238 to a specific BB count, which is very possible, I could have prevented an overload of the mag and prevented it from disassembling. So I will say that if you know your magazine capacities, and if you're using magazines that are maybe a bit more unique and finicky and not as strongly built as some other magazines, definitely keep that in mind and keep these functions in mind. So what you can do is you can click through the screen and you can set an individual BB count for how many BBs it's going to load before auto shutting off. And then you can do those as presets as well. So it comes with 5 independently configurable presets. They're already going to be set to pretty standard fill amounts, 30 BBs, 120 BBs, and so forth. But you can set them to your custom amount, so for pistol mags, AEG mags, whatever, and then you can auto load it that way. This can also be a great tool for realism if you're trying to keep a realistic amount of load in your mags and you don't want to have to count it out every time. You can just set the number there and then know every single magazine is going to have the same amount of BBs. And the electronics in this have a built-in jam clearing, anti-stall protection, and low voltage cutoff. I think being able to keep this inside of a pouch is really, really nice. And I've been impressed with it so far. I really like the clear look so that I can see right inside and see how many BBs I have left. These are all pros in my opinion. Do make sure that you are locking in your nozzles and your adapters, and make sure you are not overfilling your mags, as it can cause tension on both the mag spring, causing your mags to fail, or it can cause tension on the top of your fill nozzle on the speed loader, which can cause a malfunction here and cause it to keep winding or get stuck. So these are just things to keep in mind. I'll say on a magazine I had where it doesn't have a very strong follower, it did just eject them all out of the front, so that is very possible as well. So that's really all I have to say about the T238 Speed Loader Lite Edition. It worked really well for me. I loaded quite a few mags, and it was a very efficient process. It required no work on my part. I was really happy with it on that end. I'll say once you kind of get the hang of doing gas blowback magazines, that is particularly a good point, I think, for this, because gas blowback magazines are notoriously hard to load. So the fact that this can do it efficiently and quickly is very nice. You just have to set those presets and not let it overload your magazines, or else then you get BB spillage and other issues there. But I think as a product, it works super well. I'm really excited to see how people run this on their kit and where they kind of configure it on a plate carrier or something of that sort. I would love to know what you guys think of the Speed Loader Lite Edition, if this is something that you would consider picking up, or if you think that your handheld plunger speed loader is perfectly efficient on the field. I'd love to know your opinion. So let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks so much for watching.